Welcome, my friends. I have something to tell you. Uh-oh, there's trouble. There's trouble in Techland. You see, Techland is a place that we all know. It's cloud first. Everything is connected, and all is doing exactly what we want. Quietly operating, doing what it was built to do, moving fast, helping people work faster and smarter. And on the surface, it looks fine. But under the hood, well, things might be moving faster than anyone realizes. You see, decisions are being made without people in the loop, and small assumptions are starting to stack up. Nothing's on fire yet, but something's off. And that's what we're starting with today. My friends, welcome to a scenario called Trouble in Techland. We're going to have fun. We've got guests. We've got an awesome live fire scenario. And we at Empath are super excited to kick this off with you. If you're not familiar with us at Empath, welcome. Glad you've joined. We are a learning platform that helps MSPs transform themselves into becoming the best that they can be. And we are partnered with the one and only IR Games. I'm going to bring my good buddy up, Bob Miller. Bob, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Hey. Oh man, I'm excited, right? I mean, how can you not be excited? First of all, it's a tabletop exercise day, and I'm always excited about that. But being here as a partner of Empath, man, this is a number one of one. This is the first time, so looking forward
It
to it.
it is indeed. It's going to be so fun. We're literally kicking this off for the first time. We're figuring this out as we go along. I even have some like super cool themes that I'm going to be throwing in here and there. I'm gonna start with my hacker theme, right? Because that's what we got going on. It's going to be
Love it.
great. Hey, welcome. So, Bob, tell me who the heck you are and what the heck is IR Game?
Yeah, my name is Bob Miller, and I am the CEO and founder of IR Game, which is an online multiplayer tabletop exercise system. We that was literally built in the community of MSPs. So we were actually working on this project for a couple years. We've been doing free games the last Friday of every month, and we have been evolving the system. So recently, we actually incorporated and are now fully operational because we have a lot of really great MSP partners that we're already partners with, and Empath has always been a supporter of us. So we have done events in the past, and we were to the point now where it made perfect sense for us to actually officially partner. And going to be super happy to bring this because a lot of you will not have seen this. So it's going to be fun to bring this and let you see what it is and how it works.
I love it. I love it. And for the audience checking in, keep commenting. We can see you in the comments. Make sure you come say hello. Now, for the most important part, Bob, let's bring on our guests. So
Yeah,
we're going to
man.
have bring some folks on. We're going to start with the one and only Chris Lair. Chris, what's up, man? Who are you? And say hi.
I'm no one of importance. No, I am Chris Lair. Happy to be here. I'm with a company, Cyrenity Cyber, that launched January 2nd, so fairly new. But I've been involved in incident response now for what seems like an eternity, but basically since 2017 when all this fun started kicking off. And yeah, just a bunch of, you know, former MSP, former MSSP, current MSSP, you name it. So um, me and Bob, we do a little bit of side gigs that you can catch every once in a while. We'll spit them out there, usually weekly. But
Yeah. Chris and
Wes,
Bob, quick picks.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and Wes and I mean, we were the ones doing tabletops to MSPs pre-COVID, almost two or three times a year. So it's good to be back in the saddle with you, Wes.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Yeah, as Michael Scott said, my how the turntables. So, Chris, thanks for joining today. So glad you're going to be a participant, and it's going to be super fun. Next up, as an intro, is the one and only Gary Moore. Gary, what's up?
Hey, Wes, how are you? Thank you again for having me. So, a little bit about myself. I'm a manager here at Kaseya University. I work for Kaseya. A little bit about my background, private sector, government. I worked in law enforcement for a little bit. And I also teach part time at a local college here in South Florida, teaching cybersecurity, entry level programming, project management. And so excited to see this platform, be a part of it. Incident response is, so crucial to every facet. I think we're focusing on the cloud today. And again, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, Gary, you bet. I've gotten to know Gary really well over the past year and love what he's been doing just in all facets. Like Gary is like the most involved person that you will meet in all kinds of areas. And so Gary couldn't have a better guest on. Thank you so much. Next up, we have got my good friend Wayne Chow checking in. Wayne, who are you? And welcome to Trouble in Techland.
Hi guys, Wayne, VP Technology at Nucleus Networks. Been doing cyber for my MSP for about 6 years now. Really excited to participate in this IR game and looking forward to the outcome.
Man, Wayne, it's so awesome to have you on. I know we had you over at a different event we did earlier last year and really got to enjoy getting to know you and love the Nucleus crew. So thanks for joining. It's going to be so great to have you in. Next up is a good friend of all of ours. I brought her up and then I took her down. Sorry about that. Is the one and only Net Lynch. Net, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. Net Lynch, I'm the CISO at Kraft Kennedy and also the Emperor of Legion, which is a left of boom cybersecurity division focused on MSP partnerships to elevate what the value the MSP can bring to their clients in left of boom topics.
I love it. Nat has been such a good friend of mine. She's one of the best folks I know in this whole regime of what we're talking about. She's actually been a navigator. She's got a bunch of courses in Empath as well. Nat, thanks for being a friend. Thanks for joining us today. Super excited to get this going with you. Next up is, go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just going to say IR Game recognizes Net as the absolute queen of tabletop. So that's how she's referred to inside of IR Game territory.
Here. I can get behind that for sure. Next up is a good friend of mine and colleague here at Empath, Dean Trimpellis. Dean, what's up?
How's it going, everybody? I wish I had an impressive bio like all these other titans of industry on the call. I'm just some guy that's got a screaming possum shirt on.
Okay.
That's it.
I like it. That works for me. You always rocking the shirts. There's no question about that. Just don't let Dean start sending you shirts and expect you to wear them. I have this travesty of a shirt you sent me the other day. This Wes, how do I get it back? Here it is. I won't wear it, but I do have it next to me all the time. Just when I get sad, I start laughing.
Wes on a desk is available to print out, and you can put him up somewhere, and he will watch over you all year, making sure that you stay aligned with your cybersecurity standards.
I'm kicking him off the stream. See you later, Dean. That's enough. No more. That's all I can handle. Next up is my good friend Jesse Miller from Power Grid. Jesse, what's up, and how warm is it?
It's about to hit negative 22 tonight. So we're in Minnesota, so we have that to deal with.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Thanks for that. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jesse Miller with Power PSA Consulting and creator of the Power Grid vCISO system. That's a part academy, part coaching, and majority community that I've built to help MSPs package, price, efficiently deliver, and then scale vCISO programs using their own personnel. And really the idea being to generate at least 7 figures in revenue additional for their MSP with those programs. So what we see is typically, right, we're tacking on this security strategy stuff as part of another program, and it kind of gets lost and we lose revenue. So that's what we're helping MSPs do. Now, what we're doing here today, I'm really excited for this because Bob is a great friend of mine. We have the same last name. It's no relation. We call each other informal cousins. But yep. I'm super excited for this particular scenario because I think it's so prevalent. And we're going to start seeing a lot of this in the next couple of years. So, Bob, super excited to be here today.
Yeah, I only got one question, Jesse. When it's minus 20, when you milk the cows, do you actually get soft serve?
Well, so interesting story about today. Wes asked me to do this, and I said, well, we're milking for a friend at their farm. We don't have milk cows. We just do beef. But I was this morning milking, and I said, as long as I'm done with milking, I can enjoy.
I was like, just tell me if you can make it or not. I already need to like delete my emails with you now. It's yes. Jesse, so good to have you. Thank you. Last guest that we have is somebody that I don't think anyone has ever heard of. No one knows who this person is. Literally no one on earth. It's some guy that we just found on the street named Tom Lawrence. Tom, what's up, my friend?
Well, it's not as cold here as it is at Jesse's, but we're actually facing below zero. But I'm curious about the cows. I'm going to message Jesse on that. So we'll take that one. We'll take that one out of this topic. Excited to be here. I'm a friend of the folks at Empath because, like them, I believe a lot in education. I just happen to throw a lot of the content out on YouTube and maybe post a few memes on the LinkedIn's, raise a little security awareness, and that's what's important. Is how do we get people better? How do we raise the bar? And of course, familiar with Bob's thing here. I love that, like Chris Lawrence said, like pre-COVID, doing some of these tabletops, and you always ask yourself, has security improved? Has the bar improved? And I would say a lot of people just knowing what a tabletop is, even if they're not all doing it, they know what it is and they know what they should be doing. So awesome. I think we've improved things here. So I'm happy to participate today and get more people aware of this and all the fun that is a tabletop. It is something important you need to do to make sure you understand your plans, because untested DR plans are just wishful thinking.
You couldn't have said it better. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to bring all our guests back up. And while I'm doing that, Bob, why don't you get us kicked off into what we are going to be doing today? And those that are in chat, thank you for coming in and keep that going. I love seeing all the chat.
Yeah, as you guys know, and for those of you in the crowd outside watching this going on, the one, and Net can tell you, and Jesse as well, the one thing I don't do is telegraph what we're about to get ourselves into. So we will get into it here in just a second. But at this point, we do know it's going to be a cloud-oriented compromise, and we're going to run the game and take a run at that. Now, this will be a little different than a normal IR game that's at the end of each month, because these people are subject matter experts. And the only person I'm concerned about is Dean, because he has like a low lifeline in the graphic, and I didn't know exactly how many lives he had, but we'll try to take care of you, Dean, keep you alive during this course of this extra. But what's going to happen is these subject matter experts this is going to be, I guarantee you, Wes, this is going to be the highest information per minute density of any IR game that's existed, because of everybody here being able to pour out all of what they know as we kind of go through this. So I'm wildly excited about seeing how this actually transpires.
Well, I was ready to contribute, but then that whole soft serve conversation has
I think we're derailed. We want to know.
That's an image that's not going away. I know.
Those forum do not talk about dairy cows.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do, and so you guys, I have my screen shared. So in a minute, Wes is going to put that up there. There you go. And then I'm about to kick the activity off, and we're just going to go, and we're going to kind of work our way through it. Most people are saying, why don't you tell us more about what's going on? Well, in an incident, as everyone on this call knows, you don't get if you don't have your playbook ahead of time, there's not one to refer to. And if you do have one, if you never practice it, to Tom's point, you're not even going to know where to find the damn thing to begin with, right? So in a lot of cases, there's going to be confusion and, not knowing what to do. Well, congratulations, IR game will help simulate that for you. So this ought to help everybody understand that as well. So I'm about to kick the game off. Wes, if you're good with that, we're gonna
let's
roll.
Do it.
All right. Okay. All right, I'm going to read the dialogue here on the left, and then I'll explain some user interface work here as we go. So Logistics Freight Corp is a global logistics provider specializing in real-time freight routing analytics. Logistics is known for innovation in the industry and is recognized recently by Sector Magazine, featuring their early adoption of advanced technologies like artificial intelligence. Tom, they use the AI word, which is used throughout their organization. Logistics made the transition to cloud services, enabling the use of AI in the first half of the year. On the first business day of the month, the senior accountant notices that cloud services invoice is $95,000 higher than forecasted.
Just a wee bit higher, not much.
Missed by that much. She alerts the CFO, CEO, and IT director. So obviously this is of a scale that matters to this company. The IT director starts an urgent investigation into cloud subscription, while the CEO tasks the communications team to prepare a holding statement, because at this point, we don't really know what we're dealing with. So what would be a likely technical reason, or why don't we do this first? What would be a non-technical reason that that something like this would happen? The telemetry that you have at $95,000 higher, what would be a non-technical way that could occur?
Our marketing campaign is working. We needed that much
That's
more
right.
cloud spend
for all the
subscriptions.
It's pipe, could be pipeline, could be all those things.
Something auto renewed. We forgot to
Yeah.
cancel or thought we canceled.
Right. Or my favorite one is when the
An error.
developers are turned loose, right? And
Oh,
they
yeah.
forget to turn down their development servers after they kick some big test off, right? So that's another. What's a likely technical? What's a technical cause for this sudden spike in cloud usage?
API call increase.
Got to be something consuming something, right? I mean, we know that for a fact. So it's either
Everybody
okay or
finally
not.
spotted my GPU mining cluster that I've been trying to hide.
Bitcoin mining time.
Yeah,
Is that
well,
even
there's
feasible anymore?
definitely a flay rod askew in the treadle. So we know something's not right. So at this point, that's an anomaly. So
What about an agentic loop? Like some agentic process is
Mhm.
going and just creating servers based on something. They
Well,
do have
okay.
AI.
You can bet that everybody on this call is going to see that at least once or twice or a million times in the coming year, right? As people they have no discipline, they're just turning things on, and we'll see that a lot, right?
It's like the early cloud days.
So if you've got a cloud anomaly like this, especially if it's invoicing, which means you're consuming things, what kind of playbooks or contact trees should you have already in place so that you can quickly and efficiently get in contact with these folks to try and get more information about what's going on?
Well, I know we have an MSP, so I would think if nothing else, since we don't have an existing IR plan, I'd probably call my MSP. I'm sure they have our vendors documented somewhere, right?
They should. That's a good point, right? So if you need to have your critical documentation in place that you don't need to be searching for that through people's emails, right? So anytime you're consuming something that's that big of a resource, then you really need to have that on a short list of things that you can go grab, right? That's the idea. What consideration should be taken into account when adopting AI in a cloud environment? Call Tom.
Enough
It's a
time.
softball, Tom.
Oh man, understanding where all the rate limits are for things.
Right.
So because
Absolutely.
if you turn people loose when they can use as many tokens as they can, they will use as many tokens as they feel necessary to complete the project. And AI may give you a few more ideas of the other things to check. So you kind of make sure you understand where those rate limits are, what those parameters are, what are the resources? I mean, it's easier and more tangible when we did this in compute going, hey, you only have this many processors and this much storage or this much memory, but tokens, like how many do I get and how many does it use? It's not exactly a word and it gets a little fuzzy. So parameters around that are important early establishment so we understand how we're going to use it.
Absolutely. So if you guys will notice, I'll explain a little bit about the game board. The upper right, you should have a role. You'll see on my screen, I'm Superman. I've got all the roles. I can see them all, but you should see what you are on the upper right side of the screen. So CEO, CFO, COO. You'll notice the icon next to your role. If you notice down here at the bottom in resources remaining, there's 5 of each one of these. If you hover over them with your mouse, then you'll see that this is the IT tech time. This is marketing. This is HR's icon. This is our COO's icon, CEO, CFO, and then we have our IT director. And in just a minute, you're going to know why all those are relevant. So the thing you will do, this is called an allocation round coming here. So you're going to be given a challenge. Here's a challenge. Leadership convenes an emergency meeting to assess the situation. So that comes right from the storyline, right? They don't know what they're doing, so they're pulling people together. So if you'll notice, there are tasks here. CEO, CFO, IT director, or COO, and then IT director are all here. To the right, you will notice the icons. All right, so I don't remember who's IT director, but they know what they're doing. They're already clicking. If you left click on your icon on the right-hand side of that screen where the little number's next to it, you will increase the count. Every time you add one of those, you're adding 25 units of work to your part of the task. So if you'll notice, there are 95 units needed. Click 4 times and allocate 4 times, and you will put 100 units of work on that task, which will retire that task. So everybody that's got the executive needs, you've got 1 there, but your CEO needs to click 3 more times. The technical guy doesn't really have anything to do here. It's okay if you want to take part, then help yourself. But who is the operations? Who's COO?
Me.
Okay, so that little guy with the tie in the middle, you need to click on that 4 times to allocate it. And the CEO, as usual, needs to be told to click 1 more time because they're always behind the information curve on everybody. So
I'm trying to watch TV. This is a distraction to me. I hired all of you for a reason.
Yes, well, we know how much help to depend on there.
Can we
so,
just
yeah.
can we just consider this? This is an incident until proven otherwise. Just off with you peons. Do your thing.
Yeah. So as
I learned that
Dean
from
was
Wes.
pointing out, this upper organizational info, we have cyber insurance and we're using an MSP, but this company doesn't have MFA or an IR plan or cybersecurity training. So I wonder if that'll have a bearing on how things go from here. We'll see. I guess.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. The IT director and his engineers discover hundreds of GPU-enabled virtual machines created over the weekend. All of them are running Docker images containing cryptocurrency miners. Oh, what a surprise. Simultaneously, the security information and event manager starts flagging a 300% surge in the parameter AI requests executed under a service account named Service AI Assistant -prod. So there's a bunch of confusion growing as to whether those two anomalies are connected or not. The IT director places a read-only lock on the production subscription and exports the latest cost reports for finance. Logistics engages an incident response firm with specialization in this type of exploit. So what could an overpermissive AI assistant, how could an overpermissive AI assistant accelerate an attacker's ability to monetize a breach? Chris, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is just probably a gift of gold in an attacker's hands.
Yeah,
kind of interesting. They chose cryptocurrency mining in this case, but there's probably loads of other things that could take advantage of that to even monetize it even more.
Yeah.
So for sure, I mean, once they figure that out, it's off to the races.
Yeah. Anybody else have input on that? Doug? Yeah. So Gary, what about you?
I'll go ahead. No. So for myself, so how could an overly permissive artificial intelligence assistance accelerate Tyler's ability to monetize a breach? Is because what permissions are we giving to that intelligence, that AI assistant?
Exactly.
If it has the keys to the kingdom, then we basically have an attacker that can basically accelerate the attack tempo far greater than any human can. So we got a real problem on our hands.
Yeah.
Do you think me putting my passwords XLS into ChatGPT was gosh, did I create a problem here, guys?
I think it's the quickest way to test your cybersecurity. Provide that, I'm pretty sure about.
Yeah, that's good. We know you only use one password for everything. So
yeah, I mean, why would you bother anything else, right? And,
I don't use
to hell with that. And clearly, to hell with the MFA, right? We don't really need that distraction. Go ahead, Jesse.
My thought goes to recon, right? So typically we see dwell time being in the days or weeks before something's executed. If I can ask an agent that has access to the entire environment where all the crown jewels are and where all the infrastructure servers are and where all the code-based servers are, I get that in seconds. So I just cut my attack time from weeks down to minutes.
There you go. Absolutely. Who should approve an emergency subscription lock and what business trade-offs should be considered? So remember, they shut down their subscription. This is a logistics company. What kind of considerations should they have, and who should be calling the ball on that?
I think there's a lot of people saying not it.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right about that, Ned. Yes.
Can our operations person confirm with all compute shut down how long we could, pen and paper? I mean, surely we print pick orders. There's got to be some amount of time we could still do our shipping and logistics for a little while.
I worked in logistics. We haven't printed print orders in a long time. It has been automated for so long. Everyone forgot how it worked. When we used to have a card system, we moved from place to place on the wall. I started it 30 years ago. That's long dead. Everyone uses computers and no one knows what to do when they're broke. So it is very risky because you in logistics, especially if you're doing GIT, just in time transport, you get fined based on not showing up. And so if you don't know where your vehicles are, your fines are very, very high, and they're far higher than that $95,000 number that was posted there. So you really, and I'm hoping this company has a map of what is being used, what resources are allocated, so we know what we can start spinning down. I'm going to go with we can start killing off GPUs right away and stop the bleed immediately. It doesn't solve the problem, but those are less likely to be resources needed for the functional part of the company. You know, I imagine AI use in logistics is a lot of logistics optimization, you know, solving the traveling salesman problem of how do we get things where the assets where we want them in the most effective way. And planning, we can slow that down a little bit because we're in an emergency situation. So I think there's the risk can be tempered against that. We just got to make sure we don't shut down things that are critical, such as communication and tracking of the freight, so we can keep it en route to clients.
Well, all right. Oh, so now you can see that you got more challenges. That we had the warm-up round where you got one challenge. Now you got a bunch. So CEO, CFO, COO, you guys need to be looking at these really quickly. You've got 1 minute and 42 seconds to set a priority on what needs to be done, and then the people in their roles need to get to work. So what's the priority going to be? By the way, we got a bonus. Insurance information was up to date and easily accessible. When that allowed you, that allowed a quick response. So you got extra CEO time.
I can't do much here, but I could at least file a notice of circumstance with our cyber insurance provider just in case.
Yeah, well, you got these choices: develop cybersecurity awareness, or research the audit logs, contact cyber insurance to open a claim, create a policy lock, which this already happened, but in finance team reviews charges. So which one of those needs to happen first, or which pair, or which three?
We're assigning what we believe should be happening first, second, third, and fourth, or fifth, whatever.
Yeah, and with lack of any guidance, yeah. Don't leave any on the sideline, right? But somebody should be calling the ball on which one of these is the most important, right? Here's the problem in every incident, right? You're going to have more challenges than you got resources for, right? That occurs in every incident. So the question is who's going to be calling the ball about what people need to focus on first?
I think we should probably stop the bleeding. I mean, money has. We can trace what happened to money later. Figure that out. We got insurance. We've notified them.
So that create the policy lock is what you're referring to, right? Because that helps. That addresses that concern.
Yeah. I'm the HR role, so I have limited.
Yes, that's correct. So far, you're off.
I have limited things I can do. One of those things is contacting insurance. So that's a good idea. A good takeaway for incident response is you can take people who might not have technical acumen in these early stages and have them do some of that contacting and administrative work.
Just know when you contact cyber insurance,
I did it well.
You have some, you have some time, and I would say just coming from that, I mean, there's not enough. It's going to be you're not going to be able to provide them a lot of information. So they might say okay, but they're going to want a lot more information. So in my opinion, probably you have enough time to gather some more intel before you have to actually make that call. They're not going to ding you for not calling within an hour.
Yeah.
So my role is marketing, so I'm considering that's part of public relations as well too. So
you will absolutely, that's correct.
Right. So during this outage, like if there's going to be any client-facing scenarios here, we're going to have to post some sort of a comment out to the public, let them know what's happening, but may not need to disclose all the information because obviously it's an attack that's happening right now. We don't have all the details. But there's an outage. All clients know is that they can't get the logistics rolling. Right. They can't place orders and whatnot. So we have to do some sort of communication.
That's right. Yeah, we'll talk more about that as we go for sure. The incident response vendor works overnight and confirms the initial access via an exposed secure shell port on a development VM. The developer reused the same password for the cloud services portal when multi-factor authentication was disabled. While with a valid token, the attacker enabled AI assistant access tenant-wide and abused this directory.read.all and files.read.all permissions using prompt injection. The attacker asked the AI assistant to locate and summarize every high-value shipping contract, then auto-generate a cloud automate workflow that exported the text to an external mailbox. So, to your point, you guys were talking about the speed at which this can happen. I call this the AI smash and grab, because if they can get in and get access to a client that has those sort of wide open controls, then what's going to happen is they're going to be able to, instead of taking 2 or 3 days to figure out what's there or weeks, they can just have the AI run, just go pull it all together and get it out of there. So What minimum role-based access controls would have prevented AI system from reading confidential fake contracts? Anybody? Role-based access controls. How would they play into this?
Yeah, role based. I'm trying to take a look at this because you had basically the machine stood up with a permission set that was just we know that it's got access to just about everything. So we would probably want to have some sort of escalation that someone would have to approve, right? Certain actions that would happen in a role. Defining the actual name of it would be, we could think about whatever it is we want, but there needs to be a checkpoint in there to not allow this to happen in the first place. Right. There has to be some kind of escalation of privileges control.
Yeah, how could sensitivity labels and data loss prevention policies have contained that exfiltration? So that's going to where you were at.
Yeah.
If you've got those policies in place, then the roles can actually have some effect, right? Because you could apply those policies to the groups and then the users to the roles. So yeah, I agree.
I think we want to avoid DAC or delegated access control here, right? Because then it could just spiral out of control really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, Net, what about you? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it highlights a huge miss that they weren't labeling their data, that they didn't have DLP in place, and that's one of the key components, right? Your data is your treasure, and without having controls specifically around that data, there's no alerting, there's no automated blocking, stuff like that. Right. So data just flew right out of there.
Yeah, one of the biggest MSP opportunities in the next few years is going to be the fact that everybody's data is in crap shape and it is not set up correctly and is not labeled correctly. That's going to be a huge requirement before. Well, everybody knows they're turning AI on without it being configured or anything. We already know that, but at some point, it's going to leave somebody a bloody enough nose that they're going to want to actually start doing the work to do that, right? So,
a lot of companies been in this situation with many companies is they don't even think about the sensitivity of these types of documents, contracts, or their data until something like this happens, right? They don't go through the mental exercise or the walkthrough to say, what if this guy? So it's a lot of them, even when you initially talk to them, when something like this happens, they'll still say, well, that's not important data. No one cares about that or whatever. It's not until you kind of move on, it takes some time for them to realize there's actually more value to their data than they're giving it.
Okay, so we're back here. Got a few. Review the bill for accuracy. That's there. So yeah, we have one more challenge added to it. We completed one though. So you guys, what's a CEO, COO priority wise? What kind of guidance are you giving the team?
I keep feeling throughout all of this, I keep feeling like this is stuff that our MSP should have been handling or telling us about, and I'm just kind of upset.
Yeah. So you're saying that basically the MSP should kind of handle all that, CEOs?
I assumed they were, which is causing me to have a lot of trouble deciding what to tell everybody to do.
Yeah. Well, yes, confusion is not a strategy. So I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but your point is well taken. As an MSP, clear boundaries need to be defined. And by the way, the company cannot abdicate. Your MSP is not going to know their company as well as the people who built it and run it every day, right? So there has to be a cooperation between these groups. And that means that somebody's got to call the ball though. And I'm going to tell you this, that the CEO, whether you like it or not, all you CEOs out there, your seat, your ass. That's just how it works. You have to be in command of your organization, and you're not going to be able to transfer all of that risk somewhere else easily. So somebody's got to call.
Our insurance picked up the phone when we called them, so I have a lot more trust in right now with working with their IR team. So I definitely want to make sure we do that. And I don't want this to happen again. So any steps we can take as a team to just for now prevent this from happening, because I have no trust in our MSP right now.
So
I feel like
so right now you're saying you want work with the insurance IR team for next steps, right? That's a priority for you, and you have acted on that by allocating for. But you're still waiting on the IT director or the COO to join you on that line and allocate enough to cover that. So what's your next priority? Because one priority is not enough. You need to give people, if you're running the ball, right? And I think those of us that have been through this before, you got to say, okay, these are the top 4 things we really need to be handling right now, because they're not all going to be serial. There's going to be a lot of parallel effort going on. And not everybody's going to be freed up at the same time. So you got to establish those
Mhm.
priorities, and then you got to give the team a group of priorities, and you have to practice enough and have enough muscle memory to know they know how to do that efficiently and communicate. Right? Those are
So
the
let's
big
lock
elements.
stuff down. Let's lock stuff down. Let's
Okay.
let's start figuring out where our money went, and let's start going through audit logs if we have the spare resources, so that we
Mhm.
can find some blind spots. Because I got no trust in anything outside of this team and our insurance company right now.
Right.
Yeah, I allocated towards researching the audit logs because we got to know where it came from and
Yeah,
understand
100%.
how to get a handle on it.
Yeah. All right. Tuesday afternoon with the subscription lock, project teams cannot deploy new containers needed for critical customer rollouts. Now we're starting to understand the ramifications of a subscription lock. So, triggered potential service level agreements, which, to your point, Tom, those are the kinds of things that come up, right? SLAs and requirements there. So audit logs, service level agreement breaches, triggered potential service level breaches. Audit logs confirm that over greater than 4 gigs of contract and route optimization data were exfiltrated via the malicious cloud automate flow. So that's interesting, right? Because now it's starting to look like that whole cryptocurrency thing wasn't like the main driver, right? Now we're starting to see, well, wait a minute. Maybe that was a distraction a little bit, right? The CEO directs legal and PR to prepare draft notifications for affected customers while and so that, Wayne, that's to your point. You're going to get, now we're going to get marketing and PR in the game to do this while IT director begins password rotation campaign. Wow. That's good to do it now when the flames are looking the ceiling for sure. Disables the AI assistance pending further review. So how do you balance operational continuity against containment when the response action disabling an AI assistant breaks your workflows? So if you haven't thought about this, right? So think about this. Your organization's in the logistics business, and all of a sudden you're taking key parts of the engine offline, which is going to affect the workflow. How do you balance those things? And when, Tom, you kind of alluded to that before, right?
Yeah, and I think going to a manual approval process is it's painful, it's tedious. We're going to work some long hours, but there's probably not that many resources that got to be spun up constantly, but certain ones to manage clients do have to be spun up. And if we're doing it from a manual basis, we can do some out of band. Don't just hit the approve button, talk to them. All right, you do need this resource. It was you that asked for this resource, and hit approve. And that kind of gets us, even if not fast forward, we're inching forward back into a more sane state.
Yeah. So which stakeholders have to review the client notifications that involve AI misuse? Because in this case, AI was involved in this attack, right? Now there's going to come a day when you're going to have to start explaining what happened, right?
Yeah. As a CFO, I would say that we need to be very careful on what we say at this point. I'm concerned about blowback. I'm concerned about, obviously, we've talked about what could happen from the SLA perspective, but I'm kind of concerned about any type of potential lawsuits and stuff. Even at this early stage, I'm already, as a CFO, thinking about those types of things. So, I know we need to communicate, but I don't think we need to jump the gun and tell more than we actually know.
Yeah,
definitively.
I mean, our
But
phones
look,
don't
as
stop ringing.
as the IT director, it's not our fault. It was our tool, yes, but it was abused. I think that's the stance we should take.
Yeah, I love you for playing that role, Net, but yeah.
You misuse my tool.
Yeah.
Marketing, send the message out. It's not our fault.
It's not my fault.
Your quarterly reviews in a couple of weeks. We'll find out the truth at that point.
Yeah. Wayne, what do you think? Because now we're having to start talking about it. At some point, we're going to have to start talking about this, right?
So putting on my marketing hat, I guess marketing, we obviously have to get some communications out to the public, and we have to work internally in terms of what we're going to disclose. Obviously, some of these impacts, if it's financial, we're going to have to disclose them to the right authorities, and then trying to minimize the impact on the organization with right communications going outbound. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably a group thing to kind of like marketing can obviously send it out, but at the end of the day, it would be the CEO to approve the message and how it goes out, I believe.
Yeah. Well, how important is it to make sure that you've got your incident attorney involved in anything that's moving throughout the organization, right? I mean, we haven't really talked about that, but what is one of the main reasons that you should, this is Tuesday afternoon and nobody's mentioned the client attorney privilege yet, right? So let's talk, just, we got 20 seconds. Jesse, give us why it's important to have that cover early on.
Well, it's not a perfect shield, but we want to try and make as many of our conversations internally as we do this incident response non-discoverable. And a way we could do that is through attorney-client privilege. So that's why I always recommend having not only your internal legal counsel, but also retainer for external legal counsel that you can use to then tag all those conversations with that external retainer and potentially protect some of that from being discoverable.
Yep.
So in terms of the communication, I always want to see 4 people making a decision on that before we talk to, obviously, legal.
Yeah.
We want to see comms or marketing. We want to see compliance. And then we want to see the officers of the company all kind of weigh in and make those decisions before we communicate. And that's really how you get the well-rounded and best results from those communications.
Yep, I agree. Wayne, do you see that you've got some tasks now? So you can left click on your little add button down there. There's report back to the insurance provided IR counsel. You're involved in that. And you're also involved in drafting the client communications. Those are down at the bottom.
Yep, I see that.
Yep. By the way, if you allocate too many, if you left click too many and you didn't mean to, you can right click and take them away. Nobody's asked how those little buttons work, but I thought I would give you that since we're far enough into it.
I've just been guessing my way through it.
Yeah.
Incident
I try to make it easy. I try to make it easy. Yeah, that's all you got to know. Left click and right click.
As HR.
Does it just asking the team here, because I'm out of my depth at this point as CEO, but does it make sense to work with the IR team resources we have from the insurance provider to figure out what was actually accessed? Because maybe no actual real damage happened.
Well, 4 gigs of data got exfiltrated, so unless that was a recipe book that you were storing online, then that's probably a problem.
You had some business interruption, so that in itself.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, yeah, 100%. By the way, the thing that and I will tell you what my personal opinion is the thing that can get any company in trouble the soonest. And Wayne, you were right on top of this. Your communication plan. That's the one that people, I think, fail more on early, because if you do not have a well-defined, by the way, not just external communication plan, but an internal communication plan, because what happens if your people are hearing this going on, but you're not making a statement to the organization about what mode you want them to operate in? That's right. That is going to cause a lot of grief, because if they don't know the right story to tell and what to say, they're going to start building their own, and nobody builds happy unicorn stories in their head. It doesn't work that way, right? So it's always a nightmare in their head. So that communication plan has to be bi-directional and make sure to cover your intel.
And you got to make sure your employees aren't over on Reddit building their own narrative.
100%.
They love
Exactly.
100%. See what's going on.
Yeah.
Are we allowed, even though HR isn't listed on one of these categories, are we allowed to ask HR to just lend some assistance to our marketing team in terms of just communication and people right now?
Sure. You can ask them to.
Especially if your people are used to HR sending messages out. Then the other thing I tell people in these situations, know which employees are relatives to the media, because they're the first ones that are going to leak something to the media.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. I would say that the best thing, one of the things you need to do is you need to have a policy that you operate in 2 modes: normal business and event mode, right? And if you're in event mode, then they have to have a very controlled way of talking, who they can talk to. They need to know that ahead of time. That has to be something you can call the ball on immediately. All right, a flagship e-commerce client cancels a multi-year logistics optimization contract, citing data security concerns. An instant 18% hit to the annual revenue. Oh, the CFO is not going to be happy about that. I know the CFO, and he's not going to be happy about that.
I'm updating my LinkedIn profile right now.
Nobody likes the Twitter. I'll call the owner of that company.
Industry chatter on supply chain forums suggests Logistic may have lost control of its route pricing algorithm, which is bad stuff out there, right? The finance team projects potential long-term revenue erosion if confidence isn't rebuilt quickly. Our team continues to work through the incident to minimize the financial losses and maintain client confidence. So what's What measures would reassure customers about the data security rumor that's running
Lying.
amok?
Stretching the truth.
Yeah. So what would it be? What kind of stuff would you put out there to try and make that, try and assuage that concern?
Definitely at this point is when you start mentioning we have brought in or hired reputable third party security and incident response teams to review our infrastructure, and we are taking decisive steps in response to their guidance. Something along those lines.
Yep. How do you address media inquiries without worsening the situation?
I guess that would be on the marketing side to kind of ensure that the communication's drafted correctly with the right information. And normally it's not my hat to wear marketing, so I'm trying my best to drive the marketing side of communication and things like that. But if I was sitting on the outside and I wanted to understand what was going on, like I want to hear it straight from the company that it's impacting, not from the news outlets or not from other sources of media. We can squash those by providing the right information.
Yeah, you just made a perfect point too about just in general about this game, Wayne, is that people in these slots, you're not usually playing the one that you're used to playing, but it lets you see it from a different angle, right? And that's part of what teams learn when they do exercises. Like Net can tell you, if you do exercises like this and you're taking in, you're required in a different position, it lets you see the apple from a different angle, right? And that just makes you a better team player as far as communications goes. So that was a good point.
What you don't want to do is you don't want to ignore them, and you don't want to be a-holes to them. And
that's correct.
Both of those happen, and they always turn out very badly for you.
I agree. So let's talk about, since the CFO's got the floor, what financial instruments?
I think like the way that I was.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
Go ahead. Oh, all right. Say no. There might be a little lag, I think, on my feed, but the way I like to further Chris's point about what he was talking about, like the way I always did a nice job handling is plain and clear communication, right? So, we brought in the IR team. We don't have all the details. This is what we're working on, giving the rates, not trying to hide behind or legalize it or kind of wiggle your way out of it. People spot that stuff. So simple, clear on a cadence solves a lot of problems with those things.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Own the suck.
Yeah, that's right.
Own the suck.
Yeah. What financial instruments? Because again, now we got revenue that's not coming in at this point, right? Because we shut a bunch of things down. People are going to stop paying us. So what financial instruments, cyber insurance, contingency credit lines can offset revenue shocks from a breach? Has any, does your IR plan include a way to finance yourself on the short term to be able to actually manage through a situation
credit line or something?
Yeah.
I mean, normally that would be included in your continuity plan, I guess, right? In terms of how do you float the boat if something were like this to happen to your organization?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like service credits or like SLA credits, discounts, maybe contract extensions. Like I'm thinking of things that you don't have to actually give money up.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. Yeah, the point being though, your incident response plan needs to include those type of mechanisms, right? Because if you're not able to make payroll, or you're not able to operate, if you're playing it too close to the chest with your finances and something like this does occur to you, then I mean it can put you down. I mean, you would not be the first company that gets put down because of not having this thought through, right? And by the way, not something you want to be negotiating while the flames are licking the ceiling. So, right, that's the thing everybody needs to be aware of. So, all right, CEO, CFO, COO, guidance on what needs to be tackled. Still got a communication plan needs to get finished working. Finance reviewing charges is partially done. Reporting back to the IR council.
What's our IT director think we should do at this point? Because I'm tapped out. I'm terrified. I wish we had a plan. I'm already trying to figure out how I can, sell off some of my assets and get on a plane to the Cayman Islands.
And there's dead silence.
I got room for 2 more.
I'm using my tools.
Hey, one thing we haven't talked about yet on this one is like one question that comes up always is, do you have any contractual requirements to notify any of your customers of a breach, right? So
Yeah.
you know, so that's kind of my concern here as kind of a newer company or whatever.
Yeah.
We just been signing contracts and abiding by the other party's language.
Yeah.
And do we even know that?
So Gary, how would you view these? You know, how would you prioritize things if it was you running
Me?
this?
Yeah, me as a technician. So right now I need to determine the scope, right? I need to know what was accessed. I need to work with that IR team because we know, you know, just maybe it's 4 gigs, but it could be much larger. And what data, again, is it sensitive? What classification going towards, you know, how ultimately, you know, what's the real damage here?
Yeah.
And that's what I would start doing with the IR team.
Okay, so it looks like the insurance IR team needs somebody. Who's it need? It needs COO down here. Just about everybody else but the COO has allocated some resources down there. But oh, I see you're fully allocated. Never mind. I see you're fully allocated.
Okay, I thought I allocated.
Yeah. You're
I was drinking on the job for a second.
Well, I am, but that doesn't mean I'm not doing my job.
yeah.
As the
The question is, are you doing it in the right?
I'm not.
Wait, that's not the right category.
Place. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you don't have any need in that one. The second one?
Yeah, right now you got yourself right here. Work this COO. Work with IR team, but that's not you. That's not the little title. That's the IT director that needs to be here. So
I got you covered.
Yeah, there you go.
Go work on other stuff.
Yeah, there you go. And if you get down there to the insurance one, Tom, if you go down a few, then
that's right.
There
we go.
There you go. Roger that. Good deal.
Did it wrong.
By the way, happens all the time, right? Pull the wrong string while the flames look in the ceiling, and it happens in real life. So absolutely. That's how it works. But you know what? Everybody should be looking out for everybody else, right? If you see something in the wrong place, then that's part of the operation too. You need to call the ball and say, hey, you know what? You just put all those, all of that stuff outside when you need it inside. Whatever the trivial decision is.
Wait, same thing. Third from the bottom. We've got some extras allocated down there that aren't called for CEO and accounting, or CFO, I guess that is.
I was thinking we should get this communications to clients drafted. That's been sitting there a while. They haven't heard anything.
That's
good input. Very good input.
Well, we've been waiting for direction.
If only we had a leader that would take an assertive role.
I'm almost done packing my suitcase. I'm back.
Hey, but you know what? You're not alone. You've got a COO and a CFO, right? I mean, so nobody's alone in this.
They got to pack too, Bob.
Yeah, well, if they're all packing, then yeah.
We're all going to the same place, the same yacht. Yeah, I mean, that's me from a CFO perspective. I'm going to be assisting, or my team's going to be assisting with identifying which customers need to be communicated with first, second, third.
Yeah.
And if the communication needs to differ for some of them, because usually that happens. You have some clients that attribute most of your revenue, just like we saw earlier, and to treat them a little bit differently.
Yeah, so external consultants help the IT director implement some network segmentation real quick. I can almost feel the glare from Tom without even looking at him, right? Because these idiots didn't have this thing segmented very well, and that's a bad idea. So, and deploy an intrusion. Hey, look, they put in an intrusion detection system too, with rules to detect abnormal AI assistant and cloud services application APIs activity.
Better late than never.
I can't access anything on the guest Wi-Fi anymore, guys.
Yeah.
Don't change something.
The CFO collaborates with the marketing director to brief key customers on new controls. There you go. See, you call it, Chris. It was a premonition. You were ahead of your time. So, early feedback suggests transparency is easing customer anxiety, but pressure remains high to restore the normal development velocity. So, what evidence best demonstrates transparency without exposing sensitive remediation details? This is always a challenge, right? What can you say, that's sufficient, but not too much to inhibit the process?
Can't we just use a status page here saying our services are getting back
Very
online
good.
and we'll be back with you shortly?
Yes, Gary, they're very good, right? In your communication plan, you should have some way to disseminate information that is not man-to-man. You need a zone defense in this case. And to your point, Gary, having a predefined website location that they can see whatever the official blurb is in mass, that's a great way to do that, because we all know what's going to happen if they start calling people individually, and they call 10 people, they're going to get 10 different stories, right? So another big part of
That's why you have an SOS dashboard, status, or scapegoat, so that the team will be aligned.
Yeah, exactly. How can continuous AI audit log streaming to a SIM become a key performance indicator for the C-suite? So at this point, AI's kind of run amok, right? So the C-level people are going to be very, very upset about that, and I feel out of control. So what would be a good, would continuous AI logging be the right thing to do through the SIM to build some KPIs, keep an eye on?
We want like a percent of actions not logged to the SIM as some sort of metric to track.
Yeah. Look, and when I crafted this scenario, the good news is that the monitoring points are getting better. Okay. So the monitoring points for AI operations inside of an ecosystem are getting better, but they're still not at a place where you can say, hey, all I got to do is go tap 2 spots. And if I go watch these 2 spots for velocity, volume, transactions, then I've got a good idea what's going on with that. So Tom, you got any input, or you or Chris, either one, about what they should be trying to find as far as monitoring points go to keep an eye on it?
I mean, if AI is acting on our behalf, we need to know what it's doing and be able to monitor those actions, just like we do in employees. We want to see the actions they're taking. Just because they did it with AI, we still need the results of that. You put in a query, what did it actually do? And what are the actions that came from that query and prompt that you put in?
Right. Yeah. Chris and I did a story about the fact that there are now malicious LLMs out there, that they're actually custom built, wholly grown, jailbroke LLMs on the dark side of the moon that the bad guys are using now, right? And they're using those to automate. They're using those to automate attacks, and those LLMs are smart enough to know not to do a whole lot of transactions all at once. Now they know how to kind of stutter step and take their time, and then also shrouded in normal traffic like HTTP traffic and other things that are, small chunks of it going out at a time. So this game is getting more complex as we kind of move along. And I call it a game. It's not a game anymore. It's definitely going to be the what we're going to be looking at this year for sure. So how do you maintain organizational velocity when a new security gates are introduced to a mid-project? So we all know this happens, right? Flames are licking the ceiling. You slap a bunch of controls on, breaks the entire workflow, right? So, all right, making some progress. There should be a lot of guidance going on right now. We should never have crickets chirping.
We definitely need to be focusing on client outreach to address concern, because at some point, regardless of the damage, if we're not doing something here, we'll have no business to come back to.
That requires three marketing resources, so 3 clicks on the ad for whoever's marketing.
Whoops.
That's Wayne.
Yeah, that's me. Client outreach. 3? Okay, I'll put 3 there.
Yeah, that supplies 75 work units, which is greater than what's required. So yes, that's how that works. Got a little more time on this round because obviously we got more challenges. So, but that's why I'm saying, Dean, you should be saying, okay, well, here's the next 2 that I think we ought to be working on. You need to give them, right? Everybody needs to know. They never should have to stop and ask, hey, what should I be working on next? Right? That's inefficiency. So some leadership's got to really be proactive in this case.
We got a lot of employees that don't know much about our tools. They just use the AI. So I would think some sort of basic safety measures so that our employees don't accidentally start typing the wrong things into our tools and getting us back in the same situation would be worth it. We could get some resources on those AI assistant safety prompts.
I think I'm going to consult with my IT director and see if I can close the loop on looking at the data that was accessed with the IR team. And then I'm going to move to implement the AI assistant safety prompts. So that way, when we implement these new control measures, that we can get an error message, or we can get some kind of feedback of where we should focus our efforts to continue development going forward.
Very good.
I'm going to put some cycles over there on the board here.
Yeah. cybersecurity awareness training.
Do we,
So,
as the
IRC.
HR person in the room, do we need to start having forced time off or forcing people to go home and get some rest? We've been going pretty strong here for a while.
Yeah. Jesse, talk about that. What are the kinds of things that are going to happen in a situation like this? That would we make that the right thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, so people are going to burn out. People are going to make mistakes. People could quit, right? We've seen people just walk off the job after 3 days of no sleep and the pressure. They just can't take it. I think somebody joked about updating their LinkedIn, but that's a legitimate concern. So I love to see in the plan a way to say, okay, well, we're going to have rotating shifts. We're going to force people to go home, get some rest, get something to eat, and handling all the creature comforts and kind of supporting our team as they fight this thing.
That's not an option to selection right now, Jesse, because people are replaceable. Money and things aren't.
Spoken like a CEO.
Just having my wheels spinning here. I don't know if if we might have an insider threat as well, right? You never know. So we need, when we're reviewing the logs, coming back from IR, how this whole thing took place, right? We could have some individual that caused this whole thing. So that's just playing in the back of my mind. That might pop up.
Like an employee taking a picture of the knock screens. That kind of a weird thing could happen. Yeah, that never happens.
I never know.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The point is, you need to be thinking all those angles. That's the point. And how can you think of all those things if you never run through this and realize that, hey, I need to make sure that this is accounted for in our plan, right? What are we really doing to make sure that we're just watching all of the bell curve of possibilities?
Yeah, Jesse kicked that off for me, given the time off, mandatory vacation. We can review all your activity on your machines, right?
Yeah.
Start that process.
Well, it could be part of the process, I mean, it's what they do with law. Yeah, law enforcement, right? Yeah, they give them a break and check things out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Forensic analysis revealed that the attacker laterally accessed the on-prem enterprise resource planning system and telematics servers using credentials enumerated by the AI assistant. A ransom demand arise for a bunch of Bitcoin. I don't think 40 Bitcoin is 4 million anymore. It's probably worth more than that. So to prevent publication of the exfiltrated contract data, accompanied by screenshots of the AI assistant chat session as proof of theft. What bastards?
Can we use that auto redaction tool the DOJ has been using once the stuff gets posted? Right, we can do that.
Was it the one they were using for the first download or the second download? Because one of them wasn't as effective as the other.
Yeah, the digital one that they ran after it leaked. That one. We can use that, right?
Yeah. So how should AI specific evidence, prompt logs, AI assistant responses influence a ransom negotiation? Because you can see this coming right a mile away, that someone's going to say, yeah, we just videotaped the chat session where we asked your agent to give us everything we wanted to know. And here's the evidence of that. Here's the little pocket video that shows you exactly what we did. So how are you going to, how should a specific evidence influence ransom negotiation? Would that influence you? So Chris, you've done like 1 million of these. Everybody, I know that Net has and other people have too, but I mean, you've done this. I mean, how compelling would them sending you a video of them actually just prompting the hell out of the agent and getting what they want back from it? How would that influence the?
Well, it definitely influences, because typically a victim in this case is their number one is like they didn't get anything, or they're bluffing or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So having the proof of life or proof of theft, as this term is used, is incredibly important. It also gives us direction, right? We're seeing what they're doing versus having to cast a wide open net of trying to figure out what they did. They're providing some evidence, so now we can start to kind of have more of a narrow focus from a forensics perspective to figure out, hey, what exactly did they do?
Net, what about you, right? Because this is something that I know that you guys have to at least think about.
Yeah. So on one hand, I want to say, don't let that extra pressure influence you too much, because that's their goal, right? It's the urgency, it's the stress that they're putting on you to make you give in to what they're saying, to make you make a decision without thinking it through very well. So although I think it is important to consider, right, especially in the ways that Chris had mentioned, but it's not something that I think should make you jump into like, okay, we're going to do what they want.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Jesse, you made a good observation. What's that observation you made about this?
Well, I think you could lose leverage, right? So, to Chris's point of like, you see what they actually got. Well, we all know like the more damning the data, the more of a black eye it is for the company. Well, what if it's like really easy to compromise your AI bot, and so it could damage customer trust further? So you could lose some leverage there, right? So I think that's maybe how it could influence. And to Net's point, I don't think it should, right? But I think you have to. It's a constant cat and mouse game and a leverage game there. So if they're like, "Hey, we're going to release this piece first. If you don't give us an answer, then it becomes okay. Well, we got to get an answer back on this at least initial request." So that's how.
So what legal or good deal? What legal or regulatory exposure arises from an AI mediated data disclosure versus traditional exfiltration? Now, this question's about the fact that the regulations are sort of changing and are in flight about how responsible the users of the AI are for what it does, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed that
wouldn't
those
it still be considered that like data is still leaving the boundary regardless of the why or the tool?
Yes. Yeah, but earlier somebody said, "Oh, but that was the AI's fault. That was not our fault. That was just the." Yeah. Well, I mean, the point is that the regulations are headed toward if your AI is communicating with your customer base, then your AI is considered an employee of your. It's considered an employee. That's the momentum that has picked up. In the last 6 or 8 years.
Now we're just talking logistics information. We haven't seen anything from an individual impacted perspective. So I mean, that's kind of a little bit of silver lining so far.
As long as you're not moving DoD stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're seeing,
it depends on what freight you're hauling, but personal, we don't have to sell a bunch of credit monitoring.
So it looks like the threat actors find the insurance policy stored on the network, and they're now demanding a higher amount that matches your government.
Guys, that was my bad.
Yeah. So the CFO just lost a resource because he's busy having to go and fight that battle now. So all right. So I won't do it. I'll let somebody else do it. What would be the right thing to do as it relates to that particular injet that everybody should be doing? And it's not a trick question. It's really pretty simple. Anybody got any insight of what the right move is as it relates to that? Don't put your damn insurance. Don't put it online. Don't leave it on your network. Take it out of band. Exactly. I will tell you this. Here's a tip from your Uncle Bob. If you're going to do that, edit the values so low that when they look at it, they just go, "These guys don't have two nickels to rub together." Leave that on your network, but don't leave the real one with all your deductibles and everything in it. I got to be honest. When I thought of that and I did it, I couldn't stop laughing for a week. I said, "I hope to God they find that. I really do. If we're going to get in, please let them find that first. That would be great." All right, allocation round.
That's such a real thing to have happen though, when you think about it. Because we all casually can store documents anywhere, and actually AI makes it easier to scan them to figure out what's in them.
Yeah, we could do a whole session on what needs to be stored out of band, right? Because there's a lot of critical information that needs to be out of band and managed out of band, and we could spend an entire hour or two talking just about those things again.
Can we at least have HR help marketing with any initiatives they have, so that'll at least keep employee morale from tanking, so customers are less angry when they're calling?
Can HR apply to things where they're not listed in the center column? I've been doing it, but I don't think it's been actually anything. Yeah,
it isn't. But as an interesting fact, we're working on a 3.0 framework for this game, and it's going to allow people who don't have an action to put them there, but it's only going to give them partial credit for helping.
Nice.
But it's like HR. If HR goes out to get pizza, it's keeping somebody else from doing it, right? And it should help. So yeah, we're adding that dynamic to the equation for that reason. Jesse. Yeah.
So on my end, I'm going to start wrapping up for the implement AI system safety prompt. So that looks like that's going to be completed. And now we a managed switch on the environment now. We just don't have a dump switch. So now we're able to have VLANs, and now we're going to implement network segmentation. So I'm going to go ahead and start provisioning all those VLANs and then carving off, separating our critical resources from all the other environments. So that's what I'm going to be working on.
Yeah. And client, Wayne, you got client outreach task going on. I see you jumped in there on that. So that's good. Knocking that one down. And yeah.
There was something that we just talked about where the client's own data for the ERP breach, how do we protect them? And I don't think did we touch on that? Because, I'm from Canada. So what we would do is your credit score information is being monitored, and the company would pay for that. So HR might provide some sort of solution where, hey, we're going to cover the $100 annual subscription for this program to monitor your credit score. If someone tries to change anything, you'll be notified, and these things will be locked out. The company is aware that this data was released, and marketing would probably release an internal communication to talk about what that program would be like and how long they would cover it for.
Right.
Just your identity protection type thing.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. The CEO convenes legal, the board, and the incident response council to weigh payment options. Concurrently, the IT director's team hunts for any residual attacker footholds and validates that the malicious cloud automate workflow has been deleted. HR drafts an internal memo addressing employee anxiety. So here we go, right? Now we got the stress of what's going on, and HR is now going to handle that, or at least start addressing that, while emphasizing the firm's commitment to AI safety and data privacy. The IT team, with the assistance of the IR firm, intensifies the threat hunting activities to identify and eliminate any remaining traces of the attacker's presence within the network. They find no further evidence or traces of threat actors persistent in the environment this time. So what decision framework helps weigh the ethics and business impact of paying versus not paying a ransom? This is a star-studded crowd for this question. What should you be using as a framework to make decisions related to that? Dun, dun, dun.
How recoverable it is, how credible the threat is, what the downstream harm is, and the reality of like our legal or insurance obligations or support, maybe.
I mean, legal issues are huge because is there OFAC exposure?
There you go.
Yeah, you won't be able to pay anyway. So even if you decide to pay, so typically the IR firm is going to tell you, hey, you can't pay these guys straight up. They're going to know that pretty much off the bat. Some companies will have just a no pay at all. Like, we're just not going to pay criminals regardless of the situation. So that plays into part. In some cases, you could actually have client pressure. I have seen that where the clients will instruct you that you're not going to pay. And then they have big enough contracts to basically force your hand on that. And then the obvious is like, you will have companies that will say, hey, look, if this was employee data that was compromised, I'm going to do whatever I need to pay to kind of protect my employees, that type of thing. From a legal perspective, outside of OFAC, there's actually no pros and cons to paying this darn thing. So, regardless of if you're Canadian or American.
Yeah. So what controls, we're going to talk about controls. Somebody else got an input? Go right ahead. We all good? Okay. What controls ensure the AI assistants cannot recreate or re-enable a malicious workflow post-incident? What would that look like? Some of you more technical people.
Principle of least privilege.
There you go. Yes. So as long as we follow that, we should be good. So the proper controls are in place. Also, any kind of other fallback mechanisms that our cloud service provider offers us, right? Having another root image or golden image of our dev console that we can revert back to quickly when something like this happens. And then also implement MFA. Right? Our multi-factor authentication should drastically help a lot of these things from happening.
As the CEO, though, I don't want any MFA on my device, please.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well.
It's 2026, and there's no reason to have passwords enabled on SSH. That is
that's crazy talk.
As the CFO, I would just say something like, I told you guys we shouldn't be using AI. We could have done this all with Excel.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, if you've got AI in an organization, you need to have what's the equivalent of a change management process related to AI, right? You need to have a governance group who oversees some of that, so that you don't have people just randomly turning on AI enabled stuff and just letting it run loose, because damn near everybody is including it in their software now just because they feel like they have to. So, but you don't know what the context sharing is between those applications. There's so much that goes into making decisions like this. You need people, you need a governance group inside of the organization that at least reviews these things before they're turned on, right? I mean, that'll solve a lot of problems.
And that kind of leads into reevaluating the relationship with their current MSP. Does this MSP offer this, or are they wrench turners?
Yes.
You know, or can they really advise you in GRC? Or do you need to look elsewhere?
We're going to look in our email and find that our VCAO has been trying to have this conversation with us for like 2 years.
Yeah, they probably got it in every QBR. They've been saying, you know, guys, you really should be thinking about doing this, but I mean, it will actually cost you another $100 a month. And you know how the CFOs can be about that stuff, right? So I mean, in the end, they were turned down. I'm almost positive.
I think our MSP's a trunk slammer here. They haven't been helpful.
Very much could be the case. Okay, working through it now. Since no one's asked about it, and we're on Thursday, I will go ahead and let you know. You'll probably notice over here on the right, there's rewards for these challenges, right? There's numbers: 15 reputation, revenue, and stability. That's what this one has: 15, 15, 20. What is that? Well, if you look at the top, right, these are those meters that tell you how much you've recovered, either from a revenue, stability, or reputation standpoint. And why is that important? Well, for your organization, you need to be thinking what's important for your organization. Is your reputation more important than revenue, or is revenue more important than everything? Or what about stability? It may be the stability is important for you. The point being that this is the kind of thing that needs to be talked about before incidents occur, so that everybody understands the culture of the organization and can act accordingly, right? Because it will help you prioritize. In this case, you can see what advantage each one of these challenges will give to those scores. That would be something that an executive team might want to take into account based on their culture.
That's well, I mean, we're a shipping and logistics company, so trust, therefore reputation, is huge for us because we're kind of offering a commodity service. So maybe we should wait a little more towards reputational protection. Plus, also, I want to protect my own stock options. So,
exactly right.
Well, you're going to be able to paper your bathroom with them if you don't get enough of this handled, right?
Nobody be weirded out that I'm no longer in the boardroom and that I'm up on the monitor in what looks like a limo going to the airport.
Yeah, right.
We're good.
The slow boat to the Cayman Islands. Yeah, so let's see, what else? Well, guidance, still waiting on some more. You've got quite a few uncompleted.
I think so. I'm buttoning up the network segmentation, so that should be completed now.
Good
and
deal.
Then I'm going to focus my efforts on continue to investigate and remove access from on-prem systems. I apologize, I haven't been working on the PowerPoint slide for cybersecurity awareness training for employees, but I'll go ahead and start putting some cycles over there for everybody. So again,
Probably, to your point, might be the thing that's, right this second, might be the thing that could be put on the back of the bus. I agree, 100%.
Hey, Wayne, you got one of your marketing points allocated, I think one level too high. You have it on the confer with the IR council one, but I don't know if that'll actually
That's right.
do anything for you.
Okay. What does do something? I'm still trying to figure this damn thing out.
Perfect. Hey, we're gonna get client outreach done. I like that. Thank you.
So if you're talking to the CFO, what the heck do I need to help out here on?
How much cash can we withdraw from the bank to get in the suitcase?
That's not one of the challenges, though. So,
Well, confer with IR council is almost done. You might be able to knock that one out.
Yeah, let's knock that one out.
You need to drop 2 there, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Click on it twice. There you go. You're good to go now.
Bob, I don't like that I have to do math to figure out how many times to click.
Yeah, I know. You got to actually scroll up and down. Why can't you sort it? Why can't it be easy? Why can't it be fast? And I'll tell you, it's because real incidents aren't freaking fast or easy. That's why. That's the reason it's like it is. I only
Yeah.
have so many ways to keep you moving. So, there you
So
go.
CFO, add one more to report back to the insurance council, and then you're finished with that one. And then you have one more to allocate. You can do the one right under it.
Let me get it. Oh, I think I got it in time. I did. Chris got booted, but I did it for you because he was
Thank you.
unable to do so. He'll be back. They never stay away. A consolidated loss estimate shows 11 million in projected impact. Oh boy, he's really going to want to hear this. He'll see it. So a consolidated loss estimates 11 million in projected income impact, 6 million loss in revenue, 3 million in business interruption, 2 million in IR and hardening costs. Employee morale as surveys are trending lower, downward. The IT director drafts a 12-month security roadmap, prioritizing AI governance and least privilege refactoring and continuous monitoring. Well, at least they got to
Everything's
it.
trending down. We already established it's not our fault.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Yeah.
And we give them credit monitoring. Come on.
Yeah, they got incredible. So, Chris, you see what the impact is financially now, right? 11 million.
See that.
You got it.
You
Yeah.
know,
I feel like it's Chris's fault.
but from an insurance perspective, I don't think it's been disclosed how much coverage we have.
Oh, so you're saying that not all coverages are the same? Is that what you're saying, Mr.
Yeah, we don't have a definite amount.
Oh, so yeah, so nobody took the time to have someone review that to make sure you had the right coverage amounts for your organization. Oh, that's troubling.
It's troubling, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, I know, what my insurance will cover and not cover. So
Yeah.
kind of got concerned about that. And also, in the IR and hardening costs, it's possible that they'll cover, depending if we have coverage, they'll cover the IR, but not necessarily the hardening. So
Yeah.
money with a third party on hardening, that's going to be coming out.
We have an
I
E&O
do.
policy. Is this not errors and omissions? $1 million is a lot of money. We should be all set.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you something. You'll be lucky to get a fruit basket from your cyber insurance company when you don't have multi-factor online or cybersecurity training. I got a feeling that review on the backside of this thing is not going to be. They're not coming with a fruit basket. I'm just telling you now. It's not happening.
You're going to have
So-
one
Oh,
call
we had it.
and you're going to be done.
Yeah, they're gonna say, they're gonna ask one question and then pack their toys and go. Yeah. What roadmap items most efficiently reduce AI-driven risk within the first 90 days? So, out of the things that they're talking about here, what's going to help mitigate that in the next 90 days? What's effective?
Oh, well, first thing is they need to do an assessment to understand the AI, who's using it, who has access to it, permissions, and what access the AI systems have access to, what data it has access to.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can start producing your AI policy, create a process for people who want to use AI that don't currently have access to it, and ways to potentially exclude any AI systems that you don't want people using.
Yeah, 100%. So Wayne, you just asked a question in the chat that I want to make sure that we talk about, right? Because you said, well, I'm surprised they got cyber insurance while not having these things in place. Well, I'm pretty sure the cyber insurance company asked them if they had it, but the point is that they just checks a damn box or not, right? That's where that comes into. So they may actually have cyber insurance, but getting paid on it is the real question. So Jesse, you were going to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say in something like this, what I'd want to see, like you mentioned, not slowing the business down while getting quick wins. So I'd want to, like Nat said, is like clamp down all the AI privileges. That's probably going to break some stuff. But I would create like an AI triage task force, meaning like 1 or 2 dedicated technicians or engineers that say, okay, I can't use the AI I need or the way I needed to. Submit it with that group, and they can quickly identify the use case and try and push that forward. So I think using some tactical kind of initiatives there, first 90 days could help push risk down while letting people quickly get their business processes back up and running.
Yeah, I agree. So this last question, I want to make sure and get out of here. Which culture initiatives can help restore employee confidence in their leadership? Because we know right now they're not going to be all that comfortable with how things have been going, right?
Well, if their information was not compromised, that's going to be a big deal to them. So that's number one. And number two is this is not something you're going to fix overnight too. This always takes some time. And I always tell people realistically, you will never restore 100% of that trust when something like this happens.
Yep. It's always part of it. But so Gary, Wayne, wouldn't you guys ever been in a situation like this where you needed to try and build some trust back with employees, or you were an employee and they had to try to build it back with you?
Sure. Yeah, this it's a very delicate topic. There usually some type of all hands is always going to be a good initiative to hear it from the top, right? What we're going to improve, how we're going to improve the confidence of our employees just in our business, right? That we can accomplish the mission because they're working for us. They might not know if they're in the right place. We need to reassure them of that we're moving forward and we have things under control.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I would take it a step further and ask for feedback from the staff, like, what do you see in the work that you do in ways that we can improve, right? Whether it's in your role or somebody else's role, if you see something that needs improvement, speak up. We want to do better, right? We made a mistake. We didn't have the right things in place. We own that, and we want your help to do better. And it's important that you get that feedback from the staff, because then they have buy-in to whatever new things are coming out because they participated in creating them.
Yeah.
I think I want to add on top of that feedback we found successful as anonymous internally. For example, that way it's open. It's not like, oh, it's going to lead back to me creating some criticism about the organization. All feedback's good feedback. So by getting that, making it anonymous has been very successful from my opinion.
Yeah,
Bob, I think from up here in the air, I would probably record a video for the team explaining that we're like a family. Really
while you're on the jet.
Yeah.
So while you're on the jet, we're family,
Yeah, we're family. I appreciate all your hard work. You're not going to hear from me for another year. The SEC
I'll be right back
or whatever. Just let them know I'm busy.
You're going out for lottery tickets.
With the two assistants in bikinis behind you. That would really emphasize.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, but real quick, back on what Wayne said. That's really important because from a whistleblower perspective, you start to get into that territory, and those need protection. And if you don't give them that anonymous protection and stuff, you could be putting your organization in further legal risk. If somebody,
that's a really good point.
If some action is being retaliatory as to what they said. So, yeah, that's a really strong point that you should have something like that already in place.
Yeah, I agree. That's, what, I will say that, Wayne, it's first time anybody's brought it up from that perspective before. So I appreciate that. After having done gazillions of these, so that's a really good point. 100%. All right, you guys are making progress. I know the internet connection on that plane is pretty damn good, so that's good.
That's where all the money went. Chris, can I get a budget allocation to hire the guy that Boeing's using to deal with their whistleblowers?
Yeah, by the way, brutal. I put a block on your credit card, so. And I've also instructed the pilots to fly you at an undisclosed location. So,
yeah. I got a feeling I know where that's going.
Hey, I know that island.
We're all thinking
of
the island, which is scary. Anyway.
Any other? Oh, you guys are continue working on existing client objectives. So somebody has seen the light that, hey, we need to have some more revenue coming in, so we got to keep the pipeline, at least get it back up and running. So that's our seed.
I saw the employee morale one.
Team, already hit the employee morale because they're amazing.
Yeah, that one's good because it gives us 25 on everything.
Yeah, that's a big return on an investment. Yeah, big return on investment. So it's a good move.
If only it were that clear in the actual incident.
Right.
If I do this, I will get 25 reputation.
It's scary that we can't do all of it.
You're never going to be able to. So that is a good point, Dean. The point is and I think everybody's kind of getting the feel for this now. It's like, when people see, and Chris can attest to this, everybody certainly Net and everybody else who's done this, 80% of an incident is non-technical.
Yeah.
And you don't know that until you set fire to the place and actually start working through it, right? That's the bottom line. 80% of an incident is non-technical at all. So, and by the way, it's the part that's least practiced. It just is, because no one really realizes that 80% of it doesn't have to do with how you do the blocking and tackling on the technical side. So, The executive team holds a lessons learned workshop. They approve an AI governance committee to oversee all the future AI assistant developments. And they mandate weekly audits of the AI created workflows. So now not only are they turning things on, they're asking questions before they turn it on, and now they're monitoring it after they turn it on. So that's the right idea. The CEO schedules client briefings to showcase the new governance model and reinforce logistics commitment to secure innovation. So what specific actions can be taken to demonstrate a commitment to data security and client confidentiality beyond simple communicating with clients? So something else. And actually, Chris, you actually said it much earlier in the game as a mechanism. But I don't know if you'll connect the dots on it, but you said have an independent third party validate, right? And that is absolutely a tactic that you can use, right? That's a specific action.
This is where you need to be throwing out, like, you need to obviously make the decision, but you need to
Yeah.
throw out that you're adopting, 2701. I mean, you're gonna start doing those types of things that are gonna resonate with your clients, and then you're gonna talk about a commitment to having a third party on an ongoing basis validate that.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else on that? Any other tactics? Okay.
Yeah, trust center, right? So dedicate marketing cycles to talk about what you're doing. Like you could even put in like a motion where you have a weekly update of like what we're doing for our AI security this month and what our initiatives look like. So you could kind of let people come along for the ride. And I think that would create like a really cool narrative of like how you learned and now what you're doing, and transform you from a failure into almost a market leader. So you could almost create positive risk for the organization.
That's exactly right. You could become a thought leader. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's but why not? Because everybody knows you busted your butt. So everybody knows that, right? So that cat's out of the bag. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go quiet and dark, or are you going to start doing exactly what Jesse's talking about? You could actually build on it and become a thought leader in the area. So I agree. That's a great action you can take to help people feel a lot more comfortable. What can you ensure? How can you ensure cybersecurity becomes a core business value beyond just implementing technical controls? And we're talking about your people in this case right now. So what can you do? What kind of things how can you ensure that it becomes a cultural core business value?
If I had a security KPI I had to report to the board on, I would have cared quite a bit more as a CEO. I imagine that's the same for most execs, some sort of security KPI for them.
Yeah. I would at least add the comment here that it's a lot easier. Everybody is more motivated after something like this, but you should be motivated before this happens to do this, right? So instead of waiting until after the building burns down, it'd be a really good idea if you thought about that in terms of, okay, what can I put in place now to make sure that everybody sees the value of it? And I will tell you, you need to do tabletop exercises. If you will do a tabletop exercise, all things will come in alignment with your organization, because they will see how bad it is and not want to take part in that. And then their minds are very open to what you're going to put in front of them to make them better employees. So that's single easiest thing.
When our new CEO comes in, we should start doing tabletops.
You figure the board's going to can that guy on the plane. Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
well, I think he's going to be MIA for a while.
It's no way to get that. That's the problem. We've cut off everything. I will tell you what a lot of companies will do in this case, and really without giving it a lot of thought, which they should, is they'll say they're going to hire a CISO. And that's both, that sends messages internally, externally. They have no clue what that means, but that's what they decide to do.
Well, I've wanted someone to blame this entire time, Chris. And to me, hiring a CISO really solves that need, because I can sacrifice them on our next incident.
You don't know it's the longest around's about a year anyway. So
yeah. Well, and a lot of that, that's because of the prevailing attitude about it, right? Trying to find someone to hand that risk off to. When it's a team sport. There's no one individual that can make this happen. Right? We all know that. And let's see. Oh, let's do this round. We'll do this round. This is feeling like the last round. I don't know why, but it's feeling that way. So get what you can. You guys got some stuff done. That's good, man.
So as like some of the experienced people, what do we need to? What's finance need to jump in here and do?
Well, you can.
I know I need to keep continuing this financial impact report because that's really important for insurance reasons. I'm not going to get paid, even though financials misspelled. As CFO, I'm going to catch that.
If I'm Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder, Chris, I'd say, hey, there's only one needed down here on finance team reviews charges, and you got that done.
Continue to allocate to this.
Got everything allocated for morale.
I think our revenue score is kind of falling behind here. If I look at the top, we have a few things that we can
Yeah.
knock out this round to help increase that. I'll put some cycles into continue to work on existing client objectives. I think that will take us a little bit up for 25 points there. So it should be helping on the revenue side to keep the business fueled, right, and going. So we can continue to tackle our objectives. So I'll look at another one. I think we had another one on here that was a good revenue source as well that we could explore.
Like the way you think, Gary. That's a very good technical. That's a very good observation by someone who's in the technical service to say, "Hey, if I do this, this helps." So yeah, that's a great observation.
I told him stop using top shelf alcohol for my my Mai Tai there to help save some money. We're family.
Everybody's got to do a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. What else? Let's see. So while we're sitting here, what would you, as you guys are finishing up your allocations, what would you say, let's talk about a takeaway what do you think somebody should take away from this exercise? What will you take away from the exercise if you're taking something?
Avoid getting into an incident.
Yeah.
Amen, right? Yeah.
Not having a plan was scary. And like, obviously I'm making jokes, but it's uncomfortable each round. Bob being like, what are we supposed to do, CEO? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, there's lots of C-level people out there who don't know. And why don't they talk about that? Because they don't want to look ignorant in front of people. So the way you manage through those things though, is you put them in an exercise that's not, this is the place to learn what you do and do not know for everybody, regardless of who they are. But C-level people will get a lot of benefit out of being involved in these things. And that's the reason what we're doing shows you that 80% where the C-level people have to make decisions, because it really comes down to leadership in these things, right? Anybody else with a takeaway?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've got is I don't know if we've talked about it. I wanted to bring it up, but the time may have passed. But this AI thing, the way that it's speed, attacker, recon, and exploitation through the network, and means to shut it down, we have to basically pull the plug on everything unless we have a crown jewels analysis, a business outcomes and impact analysis, and a BIA even, on the tail end of that done for our system. So when you asked earlier, Bob, like, what can we shut down? If we can still keep a port, we understand what the impacts are for what we're shutting down. That allows us as a leadership team to make much better decisions when things are much faster and the stakes are much higher in terms of speed in these types of scenarios.
Yeah, good.
I think evaluating our risk is also something to kind of piggyback on Jesse. How do we make those decisions? Is it do we transfer this risk to a third party? I know we already have cyber insurance, but a lot of these things would have been highlighted there, right? Things that we can mitigate, things that we can't mitigate. Knowing those things right off the bat, I think will give, at least the C-suite a better idea of how we're going to approach certain issues that arise, right? Of course, there's going to be the unknown, but risk management is definitely going to be very, very important.
Yeah.
Nat, what about you?
I think, that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And, we've said it a bunch of times that, the C-suite generally don't really understand what's at risk until they go through this. And as much as we don't want people to go through this, sometimes they need to feel that bit of pain before they're willing to really understand why they need to prioritize it. It's not just we're selling them stuff for the fact of selling them stuff. It's that they need to look at it more from a risk perspective, not so
Mhm.
much as a tool perspective.
Yeah, one thing I'll point out, because I've had, I have people ask, well, can you customize this strictly for a company? Well, you could, but here's something you need to consider when you're doing exercises. People do not like talking about themselves, right? They don't like talking about what they're not doing or what they don't know or that sort of deal. But the one thing everybody will pay to do is talk about somebody else's company. So it's actually an advantage in these situations to have other companies, right, that they're going through and pointing out all of the flaws in. So it's just part of an effective exercise. It's something to consider, because it's a lot more difficult when you do one that's customized to that individual company. Someone's always going to feel like they're under attack a little bit, right, when you get to a point where something's not covered or whatever, which means it's going to restrict the honest discourse that needs to occur, right? And so you need to consider the fact that, okay, well, maybe it's not the best idea to start with to work on the company, but you could come back after you go through one of these where they are showing the gaps, because they will inevitably, they'll show the gaps in their organization by having discussions about this organization. You could always then follow that up with one that's customized to that organization and actually work on the gaps. So that happens a lot, and it's a question I get asked a lot. So I just wanted to throw that in. Wayne, Wayne, did you have a takeaway?
Yeah, I just think that in this scenario, it was an eye opener. AI is a big thing on the market. People are trying to jump onto it, and security is utmost discussion now around the AI agents and things that AI is building right now. What does it have? Is it trying to give you an output as quick as it can, or does it have security under its output as well too? And in this case, it didn't, because it did what it needed to do, and it didn't have those guardrails in place. Yeah, and the company got stung. And
exactly.
Lesson learned.
So why is this important to an MSP, right? Why is an exercise like this important to an MSP to be involved in? Well, you see the kinds of things that customers are going to be going through, and you see where there's going to be times when they need you to help support them. You have to be very clear about what it is that's your role and responsibility, right? You have to have the right kinds of agreements in places. You have that right kind of scope of works in place, and you need to understand that everything they're going through so that you can be a good partner with them to help them get through these situations. Even if it's not your responsibility, they're still your partner, or should be. And if you're a break fix person, then you should be trying to run exercises and show them what needs to occur to help them be better prepared, right? That's all part of the equation. So that's why this matters to a managed service provider, is how can I be a better partner to people? And by looking through this lens, you get a much better feel about the kinds of things that you're going to have to be able to help support. So Tom, what about you?
Good practice too.
I like that this incident starts with AI, but it fundamentally isn't AI. It's just controls not set, ownership of certain security policies, not having MFA, having SSH with a password. So it's same song, the story changed a little bit, same tune changed a little bit here. So I think that just because it's a new technology doesn't mean all the fundamentals don't matter. So you can get a grip on this. If you're an MSP, you just got to follow the same procedures as you always have. Who has control of this? Who owns it? What does it have access to? What does this person have access to? Has too much access been given? And of course, the ultimate pain of organizing all your data and properly labeling it with DLP. That's time old problem. It was alluded to earlier, the dwell time is being shortened, as Jesse kept saying, because it's easier to index it. Before, they had to really hunt for the insurance policy, and now you can just go and query
just ask
the insurance policy.
What's my deductible on my insurance policy? That's all you got to ask. You don't have to go find the damn thing. You don't have to know where it's at. That's all you got to ask. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Jesse?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, that's good. We drained Jesse. I'm going to tell you something. That's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment. We wore Jesse out. But I mean, he's been milking cows, so I mean, I understand. He's tired, right? He's tired. I got it.
That other work is hard work, man.
It's his other job. Yeah, I know. I saw. Yeah, it's very good. All right, Wes, back to you, sir.
Man, that was fun. How many of you walked into this not knowing what you were getting into? Yeah, I loved it. Would love to hear back on chat too. Just give us some comments on any takeaways, anything you've learned. This is super fun, and it's just like you said, Bob. It's so good for all of us to work through some of these things. And Bob, you have folks that you have like MSPs that are actually doing these types of things with their clients, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got we've got quite a few partners now, and they are running. They're doing both in person events like this, and they're also doing virtual events online using the platform, just like we did here. This
Yeah.
is one way that you can actually use it, but it was built. You guys know them. Those of you that know about it. It was built by MSPs. I ran an MSP for 7 years. I was a COO. This is built by MSPs for MSPs for the very reason that we all keep talking about is that we have to keep raising the water line on everybody, and the only way to do that is to have a scalable system. And that's really what it was about. And like I said, it's built for MSPs by MSPs for them to use to build a strategic partnership with their customers, which is what everybody should be trying to do, not just be break fix. We're all going to have to evolve. That includes this. And if you're able to at least put them in a situation with AI and show them, hey, yeah, it's a new technology, but it's not that different than the other risks that we're already dealing with on a day-to-day basis, then it humanizes it to the point where you can talk about it strategically, right? And then actually start trying to plug those gaps. So yes, that's what's been happening. And it's fascinating to watch when you teach them how to facilitate and they go off and start doing it. I just love watching them. I just love watching them go, right?
Yep.
They're great.
I love it. Well, those that have been watching in the audience, so many comments been pouring through. It's been super fun to have you join us. Just so everyone knows, if you're watching and you'd like to join as a participant, reach out to us. Our next IR game Empath partnership with Trouble in Techland is going to be the one and only May 4th.
So that's going to be special.
Some of you might have ideas on ideas that we might have for all of this. So we're really looking forward to May 4th.
We're about to take a right turn at Albuquerque with that one. That one's going to be really interesting. So 100%.
Yes, indeed.
How do we secure a starship? Take us out of space.
Yes, and you got to watch those thermal exhaust ports. I mean,
exactly.
You know,
that'll get you every time, especially when you're older.
Classic mistakes. Fantastic. Well, I do want to say a particular thank you to the guests. I mean, y'all carved 2 hours out of your day for us and for a ton of MSPs that are learning and listening and growing. So just want to say thank you to all of you. Jesse, thank you so much for joining. Dean, our CEO on the run, welcome home. Great job being the CEO and owned the role for sure. That was so good. And then, man, for everyone else, Chris Lair, thank you so much for all the comments and insights you've given. Net, my friend, you've been awesome. Thank you. Same thing. Really good to have you on. Mr. Lawrence, thank you so much. Loved having you on. Loved all the insights and comments. And Wayne, man, it's great. I'm really glad we had the MSP voice on today, and you rocked at the marketing role. And then Gary, as always, thank you so much. Loved all the work you did behind the scenes and in front. This has been super fun. If anyone has any other questions, wants to reach out to us, Empath MSP is how you can get a hold of us. And then, Bob, what's IR Games website?
It's www.irgame.ai. So we're still doing our free monthly ones at the end of last Friday of every month. So you can sign up for the free one.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We will see you later. And until next time on May 4th for the next Trouble in Techland, hope you all have a great rest of the day and a good weekend coming up.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Thank you.
Going to kick that music on to full gear as we kind of close out here and get back to it. That music was so good. Let's pop this guy up.